Chapter 65A. Heirlooms. Jackson. Isla did so well last night and today. She charmed everyone she met, and everyone told me how great she was going to be, though I already knew that. She was going to fit right in just fine with the other leaders of our world. She was meant for this, born for it. I was happy to have her by my side. Events that I used to try to get out of or do the bare minimum, I enjoyed because she was next to me. The food was incredible. The ceremony was flawless. Well, after Jennifer was taken away. And I could admit to myself I felt perfectly happy. Until we had the ceremony and marked each other, I was worried something would happen. Something would come between us. I felt like since I figured out I had a mate, it was one snag after the other. I was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. After this, everything would settle down and I could face anything that came our way. The guests seemed to be enjoying themselves and chatter filled the dining room. I surveyed everyone. There was a decent turnout, especially because of the last-minute nature of this get-together. I'm sure everyone was curious about the mysterious new Luna. I catch Alpha Benjamin's stare when my eyes roam to his table. He makes a fist, and his Luna puts a hand over his that he brushes off. Seth is sitting next to her, looking a bit bruised, but not as bad as I expected. His wolf must have put a lot into healing him overnight. Seth looks down and doesn't meet my gaze. Good. Has he said anything to you after last night? Lucas whispers to me, seeing where I was looking. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking to Alpha Benjamin this morning. I didn't see them until after brunch started. Hopefully we get lucky and they all get locked up in a few weeks. Lucas scoffs. If only we could. I'm sure he would find some way out of it. I think the best we're going to get is having him removed, but it's going to be a bunch of red tape either way. I haven't heard of an alpha losing his title like this. It's always been because of a challenge. So after the trial, challenge him. Lucas shrugs, stuffing his face with a sausage. What did you say? Challenge him for the title. You have reasonable grounds, especially after the trial is over, if it doesn't meet our expectations, that is. He has a point. From the few stories Isla had told me, he seemed wildly unfit as an alpha. I wish he would step down, but his son seemed even less competent than he was. I chewed slowly, thinking that over. I would have to consult the elders about it. I didn't want to do anything wrong or step on any toes. I didn't know how these things worked. Maybe when they were watching a movie, I could pull him aside for a few minutes to see. The more I thought about the idea, the more I liked it. Logistically, it would be hard not being able to absorb their pack into mine completely. They were way more established than the packs I've previously challenged. Everyone that decided to join my pack from those ill-established packs has relocated here with little to no problem on their end. Maybe appoint another alpha, or maybe they could become a sort of sister pack to ours and send another beta or something to run it, and I could control it from a distance. What are you thinking about? I felt a small hand clasp mine. Isla was staring at me with a wide smile, her large eyes sparkling. Sorry, I got distracted. Lucas brought up something I hadn't thought of before. What is it? She starts rubbing circles on the back of my hand. I need to talk to Elder John first to see if it's even a possibility. But an Omega comes up and refills our glasses. I'll talk to you later about it. It's sensitive material. She nods and laughs as we get interrupted again as our plates start getting cleared. When the plates are cleared, I stand up to thank the visiting ranked members. I pull Isla to stand beside me. I want to thank you all again for attending on such short notice. I look to the audience. Thank you to my mother and Abigail for pulling a flawless ceremony and brunch together so quickly. I smile at them both. We are happy to have you here to celebrate my new Luna Isla, and we look forward to what the future holds for each of our packs together. A few people clap at this. Now, stay as long as you'd like. We have desserts on the table over there and still most of a champagne tower to get through. The crowd laughs a bit. I turn to Isla. Anything you want to add? She froze and I squeeze her hand. She takes a deep breath. I know a lot of thank yous have already been said. More laughter. but I truly do feel welcome. Not only as part of this pack, but as an ally to every pack that I've had the honor of meeting last night and today. This was more of a welcome than I could have ever imagined, and I am overwhelmed with gratitude to have you show up to help me transition to Moonstone's Luna. She picks up her glass. To all of you and our future together. Everyone raises their glass. Someone shouts, "To the Luna!" More cheers. "To the Luna!" Voices erupt. I look down to see Isla taking a sip, blushing wildly. I kiss her on the forehead before we take our seats again. "That was perfect, my love." She doesn't move the glass from her face, trying to hide behind it. She was so fucking adorable. Everyone started mingling, and as much as I was enjoying myself with Isla by my side, I was ready to get this over with and have a more relaxed afternoon and evening. "Shall we say our goodbyes?" I turned to Isla. "People should start to leave soon so we can head to the front to officially say goodbye to the visiting alphas." "Think we can grab a cheesecake on the way? I've been eyeing those since we got down here." "I think that can be arranged." Of course, we get stopped no less than 5 times trying to make our short way over to get some dessert. I guide Isla through and guard her while she stacks a plate, trying to keep anyone from starting a conversation with her. I take her hand and quickly lead her out the side door. "I thought we would never make it out of there," she says as I guide her to a chair in the hallway. "Sit and eat for a second. You've been doing great. I know these events can be taxing, and I've been doing them my whole life." I watch her intently as she scarfs down 3 of the cheesecakes. "Hungry still?" I question. "Last night's activities were," she raises an eyebrow at me, "strenuous." "Well, then we need to get your energy levels up for this evening." I sit in front of her on the floor and run one of my hands up her thigh. I could already start to smell her arousal just from a touch. My member was starting to bulge at the seam of my pants. I wondered if I could sneak her away for a few minutes. "Jackson!" my mother calls from down the hall. "Shit," I mutter under my breath, and Isla giggles, sitting back and starting on another cheesecake. "Some of the alphas are leaving. I was wondering where you went off to." I stand up and brush off my pants. "We were headed that way. I just wanted to make sure Isla was fed first." My mom comes up to us. "Oh, well, that's sweet. And don't you worry, dear. We have a lot more of those stored in the fridge." She winks at Isla and takes her empty plate. "Shall we?" She reaches her small hand out to me and I help her up. I was impressed by how well she remembered the visiting members' names. I even blanked on some of their kids' or betas' names still, and she remembered most of them and what they talked about the previous night or this morning. She spoke to them like they were the only person in the room, and that she was genuinely happy that she got to do so. With Isla, I knew it wasn't an act though. She was actually happy to be there, and she didn't have to fake it. I beamed with pride standing next to her as she won the visiting members over again and left a lasting impression. "I think we only have a few more left." She looks up at me and smiles. Goddess, I was so lucky. The perfect mate and the perfect Luna. "Alpha Luna?" A cold voice tears me back to reality. Alpha Benjamin and his family come up to stand in front of us. Isla stiffens for a second time next to me as Alpha Benjamin takes her hand in his. He kisses the back of it, and I fight off a growl. "My son is right. You do look stunning." She pulls away. "I would think again before you or any of your family members try to touch my Luna ever again." Alpha Benjamin smiles and then looks at me. "No need for hostility, Alpha Jackson. We wouldn't want any ill will towards one of our closest allies." I didn't like the way he was looking at me, and Flint was on edge. I catch someone else coming down the stairs out of the corner of my eye. I reach out to shake Alpha Benjamin's hand. "Well, thank you for coming and supporting my Luna. Juliana, always a pleasure. Haley, Seth?" I nod to both of them. Haley looks at me and Seth starts glaring. Okay then. They don't budge. "Thank you for supporting me. It means a lot," Isla says calmly, trying to get them to move on. "Don't worry, we will be seeing you very soon," Alpha Benjamin says. "Of course," I cut in. "For your trial." I add icily. Ah, yes, I almost forgot about that. He smiles. That too. He gives us a wink and walks out, followed by his family that doesn't even look our way again. Isla and I exchange an exasperated glance. I hope she knew that he was just trying to get her riled up and there was nothing we actually had to worry about from him. When the last visiting alpha had finally left, as much as I wanted to get Isla alone for a few minutes, I knew I needed to find the elder. I wanted to discuss potentially challenging Benjamin after the trial to see if it was a possibility even before mentioning it to anyone. As luck would have it, he rounded the corner before I could go looking for him. Isla. Alpha? Luna. Elder John greets us. Just the two people I have been looking for. I was just going to come look for you, Jackson says. Do you mind if I speak to your Luna first? Of course not. Is it something private or may I join? Nothing private. He turns to me. Is that okay with you that I borrow a few minutes of your time? I nod. Of course. Let's head to my office then. I follow Elder John and Jackson up to his office. Jackson lets the elder take his chair, and we take the seats across from him. So, this is in regards to something I noticed at brunch. I look down and pull at my necklace. Yes, that necklace. I've seen it before, but I can't quite remember where. Or at least I've seen something like it. Did he know something about where I'm from? The pack where my parents were from? Jackson took my hand in his. I won't regale you with the entire tale, but let me sum it up. In the beginning, all the packs were one. I'm not sure if you've heard of this. I read it, or at least part of it recently, just up to the part where Alpha Amos helped the moon goddess and was rewarded with a blessed pack. Very good, so you understand the gist of it. I nod. Well, that tale is true. Most of it is. You know how some tales get spun out of proportion. I nod. The pack that started split off into 10 different packs, the moon packs. You might have heard of other packs having falls or lake or form of the moon in their title. I look at him confused, not sure what he meant. Blue Falls, Silver Lake, Red Eclipse. I nod. Yes, I've heard of those. Good. Even my pack was formed recently enough, well, recent enough in the timeline of werewolves. The first 10 packs all had the name Moon in them. Red Moon, Eclipse Moon, Blue Moon. He waves his hands and looks between us. Silver Moon, Moonstone. Jackson nods. I remembered he told me both of our packs' histories went way back, and we've had one of the longest alliances. We don't need to worry about the specific packs. One made it all the way up to Alaska. Others scattered across the USA. A few made it across the ocean and eventually settled in Europe, and it was said Africa, but we can't be sure. He pauses for a moment. Of course, many other packs sprang up. People left, started new ones. Some packs couldn't control all the new members as more generations began to grow. I nodded. So my point, the original packs all had symbols, crests, flags, emblems, whatever you call them. He waves his hand. They created them in the beginning to differentiate themselves, have their own identity for the first time. This was hundreds of years ago, so they needed something to show off their territory, show what pack they belonged to. So they marked it with their different symbols. He explains. Over time, it became something more about pride and heritage, a symbol that was put around pack houses to show that they were one of the original packs, a status symbol of sorts. Of course, other packs have done something similar over the recent years, but it doesn't mean as much as the original packs. He pauses. I'm not sure if he's waiting for us to reply. That makes sense, I say. What does it have to do with Isla? Ah, yes, the point of all this. I think Isla is wearing one of those symbols around her neck. My eyes are wide and I look down at the pendant, still not sure what it means, but it felt even more special. Maybe my parents were from an old pack. This would at least tie back to my history. Maybe I even had some family somewhere, an aunt or cousins. So Isla's necklace is a crest or symbol from one of the original packs? Jackson asks. That's my theory. I'm sorry, but what does it mean? He turns to me. No offense, Isla, but we don't know anything about your parents. Maybe they could have stolen it or found it. It's just a necklace. Jackson looks confused. He did have a point. They are extremely rare to come by. Someone could have made a copy recently, I ask. It looks old. I look down at it. Even though it was still shining, it did have a bit of a fade to the sparkle. I still don't understand what this proves or what your theory is. Jackson cuts in. I'm glad he said that because I didn't either. Not all wolves were given these treasures, these heirlooms. It was mostly the ranked members that had them. Symbols mostly showed up around the pack houses and in official meeting rooms when that became a thing. Jackson told me that too. I've seen their symbol a few times around the pack house, and I think it was the pattern on the chalice for the ceremony. So you think Isla's descendants were ranked from one of the original packs? I think that might be the case. I let out a small laugh and they both look at me. I'm not a ranked wolf. I was even lower than an omega, a rogue, not part of a pack officially until last night. There was no way this was true. My parents must have found this, as Jackson said. There's no way to prove that, though, is there? Jackson asks. These heirlooms get passed down directly through blood descendants, and blood descendants only. So Jackson, if you had a necklace for Moonstone, your dad and yourself could wear it. Your mother and Isla couldn't. Any children you both had would be able to wear it, but their mates could not. It has to be a direct descendant that represents the original pack. That makes sense in a weird, twisted kind of way, I say. It's very traditional. I don't think it makes much sense. He waves his hands. Either way, there would be a direct lineage of the packs through records kept from the beginning of time, usually stored in a safe in the office or a vault. The elders have a copy as well, if we're informed of the births and deaths, that is. Sometimes people get lazy about that. He trails off. So, if we can figure out what symbol this belongs to, we can figure out if I'm part of the same pack? I ask, making sure I understood him. Yes, there are only 10 symbols, all similar, so it shouldn't be hard to find. Jackson looks at his hands before turning to me. I'm sorry, Isla. We were never able to locate the book with everything going on. I place my hand on his. Don't worry about it. We can figure it out now. To be honest, I was more worried about the paternity test than my necklace. He smiles at me. Do you mind if I get a closer look? Take a picture? I can have it analyzed by someone today. I take it off my neck and hand it to him. I touch my skin where the necklace used to be and feel naked. I was used to it being a part of me now, and didn't like having it off even for a few seconds. That really is a beautiful piece. He turns to Jackson. I would ask your parents about any family heirlooms of a similar sort you might have. Come on, Luna, the movie is going to start. 1 second. Thank you so much for your help, I say to him. Of course, any time. I'm curious to see where it's from. Hopefully, we can find out before we leave. I make a motion to get up, not trying to be impolite. Isla has a previous engagement to attend to. If you don't mind, could I steal a few more moments of your time? Jackson asks. I look at him gratefully. Of course, anything you need. I kiss Jackson on the cheek. I'll see you later, and turn to Elder John. Thanks again. I appreciate everything you've done to help me. He smiles widely. Any time. I mean it. Chapter 65b. Heirlooms. Jackson. I promise this won't take long, I say. Take as long as you need. I don't have plans until I meet your parents for lunch. He was honestly such a great person. I'm glad he's here in person to help us navigate Jennifer's parents' DNA test and for all his extra advice. Something came to my attention that I hadn't thought of before. Now, this wouldn't be until after the trial, but could I? Elder John was looking at me so intently I almost caught my words. Possibly challenge him for his pack. Elder John takes a deep breath, but doesn't say anything for a moment. Ah, I see. He sits back in his chair. Well, my chair. I wait for his response. You will have to wait until the decision was made at the trial. If he is under some form of punishment from the council, then they would have control over that situation. I nodded. I see. I didn't want to step on any toes, so I figured I would check first. It really does depend on the trial. He might be found guilty and removed or imprisoned. Who would the pack go to? Potentially his son or his beta, depending on their level of involvement. That's what I thought. And if they were both involved, we haven't thought about it further. We're just focusing on the trial at the moment, then we will deal with the outcome. Okay, I guess I'll wait and see then. Jackson? I look at him. As an elder, I can't give you advice pertaining to an upcoming trial outcome. I apologize. I didn't want to overstep. As your father's close friend, I can say that I support your decision to challenge him. I look up shocked. But you're going to have to do it the right way and wait for the elders to make the decision first. I smile. At least that was something. Thank you. I won't hold you any longer. I stand up to shake his hand and catch the rest of the movie with Isla. Isla. I snuck into the theater room and got glares from the audience. Well, Lucas. Come sit by us, Cameron whispers, and I sat in the middle of them, and they handed me a bowl of popcorn. Abigail sat on the other side of Cameron. We were the only people in the theater. What movie is this? I whispered. Shh. Lucas puts his finger over his lips, and I can see Abigail roll her eyes and smile behind him. It's Tangled. Cameron eyes Lucas. Apparently another one of Lucas's favorites. Sounds good. I take a fistful of popcorn and settle in. Jackson came down halfway through the movie, earning him a glare from Lucas. He pulled me to a couch behind them, and I snuggled in his lap for the rest of the movie. Exactly what I needed after the chaos and excitement of the last 24 hours. Next time, I'm picking the movie, Cameron complained, standing up and stretching when the lights turn on. Don't lie, you loved it. You know you want to be Flynn Rider, Lucas retorts. I thought that was lovely, Abigail says. I nod in agreement. They have to get a full movie education, not just your Disney movies, Cameron says. I'm pretty sure Shrek was DreamWorks, Jackson adds. Cameron sighs, exasperated, not liking that he was getting teamed up on, even if it was about movies. How much time do we have before dinner? Abigail changes the subject. About an hour. Jackson checks his watch. Let's get ready, love. We got off the elevator and met Gianna on our floor. Just the two I was looking for. Is it your mission today to ensure I get no time with my mate? Jackson complains. You asked your father and me for this. Sorry for doing you a favor. Gianna waves him off. I hope your children will never treat you with such disrespect. Gianna comes up to me. I smile at Jackson, who rolls his eyes but says nothing. Gianna hands Jackson a medium-sized black velvet square box. He faces it towards me and opens it. A gold necklace with a pendant a bit larger than mine was in it. Wolves howling at a large moonstone moon were etched into the pendant, identical to their crest. Beautiful, isn't it? Gianna muses. I'm not allowed to wear it because I'm not a direct descendant. She rolls her eyes, showing how much she loves that tradition. That's what Elder John said. Jackson laughs. There's some other things, too. A few larger pendants, a brooch, I think, and some cufflinks. Some of the stuff seem newer. Thank you, Mother. Do you mind bringing it down to dinner? Elder John might want to see it. Of course, darling. She turns to me. Do you need any help getting ready? Sure, I start to say. I think she will be fine. Jackson cuts me off. We will see you in 30 minutes downstairs. Dinner smelled incredible. The dining room was completely transformed from the bright brunch setup from a few hours earlier. Instead, it felt elegant and cozy, an intimate affair. The lights were dimmed and candles were placed around the room. A large fireplace was lit in the corner. Elder John was there with Gianna and William. Isla, I wanted to talk to you before dinner, but I heard you were in a tangle. I blush. We were watching Tangled, I corrected, and William and Gianna laugh. Do you mind if I share this information with everyone? He whispers to me. No, of course not. They are all going to find out soon enough anyway. This just saves us time, actually. Perfect, then. Abigail and Jim come in, followed by Lucas and Cameron. Hello, Elder John. Lucas comes up and shakes his hand. It's an honor having you for dinner. I was disappointed I didn't get the opportunity to talk to you last night. I gaped at Lucas, surprised at how formal and polite he was being. He snuck a wink at me. Elder John, it's always a pleasure. Cameron comes up and shakes his hand. Now, shall we be seated? Gianna comes behind us. Apparently, we have a lot to discuss. She makes eyes at Jackson. I know she wouldn't forgive being left out of the secret DNA test, and she was worried she was left out of something now. Elder John tells everyone the old tales and what he thinks of my necklace. So, we did find out what pack the symbol was from. Strange that I couldn't remember it before. There was a bit of a snag trying to recover the recent records, though. Something we're looking into. I'm nervous again. I'm about to find out where my parents might have been from. I was excited too, but I had to remind myself that there was a huge possibility this didn't mean anything. What pack is it, Elder? William chimes in. Silver Moon. Everyone looks at me. Chapter 66. Dinner and a Show. Isla. I promise I didn't steal it. I hold it to my throat, not sure why I'm so possessive over it now. Abigail looks at me frantically. She had it on when I first saw her. I promise. Girls, no one is saying that you took it, William says, looking at us. Then what are they saying? I look to Elder John. I think you might be one of Alpha Amos's direct heirs. There's a chance, at least. I'm not sure how else you would have gotten such an heirloom at such a young age. I told you, my parents were rogues. Gianna, William? Elder John looks to them. Where do you keep your heirlooms? They're in an underground vault. We don't even keep these in my office, William says. See, this isn't something that is easily stolen. Not one that looks like an heirloom like yours, at least. Maybe they killed a ranked member? That's how they became rogues? I ask. Anything was more believable than me being related to someone that was ranked blood. Maybe, Elder John says, but it looks like he wasn't buying it. What did the record say? Did you get those back? Jackson asks. The Omegas come in and start placing warm rolls and garlic butter in between us and a thick autumn soup. We started eating a few bites before he spoke again. Our records are apparently not up to date. We don't have Alpha Benjamin listed or even his son. The most recent was 2 generations back. That is interesting, William says. Elder John just shrugs. If the Alphas don't notify us of the births, then we don't update the records. There are far too many packs to try to keep up with every new pup born. But Silver Moon would have kept the pack's records up to date, right? Lucas asks. They should. Any good Alpha would record their line. We have a few copies here, actually. The original ones in Jackson's office, and then the vault we mentioned. as well as them around the pack house, more for educational purposes. You never know what could happen, and that is our history." Elder John nods. "Exactly that," he agrees. "Alpha Benjamin should have the right documents." "What exactly are you trying to prove?" I ask, still confused. "Trying to see if and how you are related to them." I felt the blood leave my face. "What's wrong, Isla? Baby?" Jackson takes my face in his hands. "I don't want to be related to them," I whisper after a few moments of trying to steady my breath. I see Jackson look at his parents. "I don't think that's the case. They're not your parents or anything, at least." I don't even think of that. I couldn't help the tears that formed in my eyes. "Baby, that's not what we're saying," Gianna said. "Hell, I don't even know what we're saying, but it's not that you're related to them. You're probably related to a descendant, maybe a far descendant. At best, you might barely be related." "Great, my only living family, and they are horrible. There goes any lingering fantasy of relatives in a pack far away." I take a deep breath. "Isla, you are family now. Blood doesn't matter." William looks at me. Abigail takes my hand on the other side of Jackson. "We're family, and I'm pretty sure there's no chance of us being related." Abigail pats it. "But if you were, do you think you could get a standing invite for Christmas? Show up and demand to be in their Christmas cards. It's the least you could do," Lucas says, earning him a jab from Cameron. But I couldn't help but laugh picturing that. "Who knows, maybe Alpha Benjamin isn't the true Alpha," Cameron suggests between bites. Everyone looks at him. "That's a dangerous allegation, son," William says. "Just throwing out all options." He shrugs and goes back to his food. Jackson pauses for a second and looks at Lucas and William. "Something to think about," William says. "Leave no stone unturned," Lucas adds. "I'm sure we will find out everything we need to know during the trial. No need to speculate now," Elder John adds, and that conversation is over. The rest of the meal was comfortable. The food was great, and the company was even better. Everything was perfect as usual. Jim turns to Jackson's parents, "But I'll have to excuse myself for a few minutes." "If it's about the test, I'll come with you," Elder John says. Jim nods and he follows him out. "I wonder if Lisa and Greg have gotten the results yet," Gianna muses. "Is it too early to ask them about it?" "Let's make sure the doctor's one is done, and then we can ask." Not sure what to do, we all wait at the table until they come back. "Well then," the doctor looks at Jackson. "You are definitely not the father." I let out a breath. Even though I didn't think there was a real possibility, I was still anxious about it. Jackson looks at me and smiles. Gianna's eyes cloud over and she must be mind-linking Lisa. "They're on their way here," Gianna states. "Who is, my love?" "Greg and Lisa. Shall we celebrate this being past us?" Gianna gives Abigail a knowing smile. "I think this does call for champagne." Abigail takes the bait. Before long, champagne flutes are being passed around, and some of the men are swirling whiskey in glasses. "We didn't mean to intrude on your celebration." Greg comes in furious at the scene. Gianna stands up and passes both of them a glass. "Not a celebration, Greg. We are just welcoming an old visiting friend." She motions to Elder John. Greg snorts and throws back his whiskey. Lisa nervously sips on her wine. "Please, sit. Join us," Jackson says cordially. They take a seat across the table from us. Jackson resumes conversation with Lucas and Cameron, and Abigail is talking to me about the spa day Gianna wants us to have. "All right," Greg slams his fist on the table. "That's enough. Let's get to it." Everyone stops talking and looks at him. Jackson tenses next to me. "Your manners, please," Lucas chides, looking to Jackson. "I apologize, Alpha. I just want to know what's going to happen." "What do you mean?" Jackson asks. "To us, to our daughter." "Did you help her fake the test?" Greg shakes his head and Lisa starts crying. I can't believe my baby would have done something like this. I don't understand what happened. Where did we go wrong? Lisa breaks down crying into her mate's shoulder. If you didn't help her fake it, then you have nothing to worry about, Jackson says calmly. What will happen to her? To the baby? She will be as comfortable as she can be until the baby comes. She will have regular doctor's appointments and regular healthy meals. Thank you, Alpha, Greg says. Don't thank me. Isla insisted. Greg and Lisa turn to me. Thank you, Luna. I nod. When the baby comes, it will be taken from her care and placed with you, I'm assuming. Jackson goes on. We accept that responsibility, Greg says, and Lisa nods, unable to speak through the tears. Good. What is going to happen with Jennifer? He adds, not able to meet Jackson's eyes. We are still trying to figure it out. She just wanted to be with you, Lisa says through her tears. She loved you so much. That isn't love, Jackson responded curtly. She almost cost me my mate, and this pack there, Luna. Jackson puts his hand over mine. She lied to me, to you, to everyone sitting here. Somehow messed with medical tests and has been rude to her ranked members and her Luna. Lisa looks down at her hands, her sobs shaking through her. Isla almost gave me up for the sake of my pack and the sake of the baby. She was willing to give up her mate to what she thought was right for me. That is love. Jackson gets increasingly mad. Regardless of what you think Jennifer's motives are, she committed a series of serious crimes that she will be punished for accordingly. I see Greg put his arm around Lisa. I did feel bad for her. Her fate will be decided after the baby comes. Until then, you can maintain your weekly visits. Thank you, Alpha, Greg manages to say. Gianna looks at them sympathetically. Are you hungry? We have a lot of food left over. She looks towards Lucas. More whiskey for Greg, please. Lucas obliges. Greg downs it immediately. We're fine for dinner. Thanks for the offer. Greg stands up, pulling Lisa up next to him and leads her out. It will be okay. Let's get the baby's room set up. That will give you something to do. I hear Greg say to Lisa on the way out. Gianna slumps back into her seat. The first time I've ever seen her slump. Well, I can say one thing. We haven't had this much excitement around here since you two came. William gives me and Abigail a smile. It was getting a bit boring, Lucas adds. Never a dull day now, Cameron says. I'm looking forward to having some dull days soon. I sigh, and Jackson kisses my head. Next up, the trial, and then hopefully some peace and quiet, Abigail says. And more puzzles. Jim puts his arm around Abigail. Hell yeah, Lucas cheers. Language! I am going to have a word with your mother, Gianna chides. Jackson. I finally get some alone time with Isla. It seemed that everyone wanted to be around her. I couldn't blame them, but I had a lot of lost time to make up for. Almost a month of waiting. I followed her into our closet and watched her walk to her side to get undressed. I took off my stuffy dress clothes. I never got used to them, even though I wore them most days, leaving just my boxers on. Throwing everything into the hamper, I grabbed a soft silk tie. I didn't want to take things too far with her. We just had sex for the first time last night, but I wanted to show her something new. She was taking forever, so I walked into her side and leaned against the door watching her. Her dress fell from her perfect body. She had to push it past her curves. I watched her wiggle out of it, exposing her round butt. I would never get tired of looking at her. Don't just stand there staring, she whispers. I guess I wasn't as sneaky as I thought I was being. I walk towards her and run my hands up and down her flawless hips, hooking my thumbs in her panties, slowly pulling them down, goosebumps erupting over her thighs. Step out, I whisper. She does as I say. I stand back up and unclasp her bra, pushing it off her. Taking her full breast into my hand, she leans back onto me and moans. Walk forward, I command. She moves, still distracted. To the mirror. I guide her to the full-length mirror and place her hands on either side of it, kneeling behind her. I run my hand up the inside of her thigh. She moans, music to my ears, and shuts her eyes, leaning back. No. I pull my hand away and she whimpers, Open your eyes. She does what I say. I want you to watch what I'm doing to you. She makes eye contact with me, her gorgeous green eyes filled with lust. Keep watching. I move my fingers up and run them along her dripping opening, making sure she doesn't break eye contact. I take hold of her hips and hold it tight in the palm of my hand while a finger slides into her opening. Her body tenses up and she leans her head back for a second before remembering my instructions and leans forward, opening her eyes again. Hold on to the sides of the mirror if you need more support. I start to pick up the pace of my finger, moving it in and out of her core, clenching around me. I can't help as I bite her ass gently, and she squeals in what I hope is pleasure. Ah, Jackson, she moans, and I pick up the pace, knowing that she's craving release. Her knuckles start turning white, grabbing onto the mirror. Eyes on me, I growl. I slip another finger in, and I can feel her orgasm starting. She's muttering my name incoherently. I look at her eyes, and she's fighting to keep them open. I see a smirk spread across my face in the mirror. I loved that I could make her body feel this way, that I was the only one who would ever get her to respond this way. I remove a finger and rub it against her clit, and I feel the last of her orgasm hit in waves, clenching around me so tight I could barely move my fingers out of her. When her breathing becomes more even, I pull my fingers out and place my tongue between her legs, licking up her juices. She falls forward, her hot breath fogging the mirror. I knew she was tired, but I was just getting started. Isla. It was hard to keep my eyes on Jackson, hard not to shut them and completely give in to my pleasure, thinking of nothing else. Every time I snapped my eyes open, I was met with Jackson's blue ones staring hungrily at me, at my body. I quickly lost any sense of self-consciousness as my pleasure started to build. I liked him watching me, all of me. Having my legs spread and seeing his hands tense up inside me, his veins bulge in his forearm. It turned me on even more than I thought possible. Jackson stands up and chuckles into my ear. You did well, my Luna, he says as he brushes my hair to the side and kisses my neck, getting down to my marking spot, sending a shot of pleasure immediately to my core. He guides me to the table in the middle of the room. Now that you've seen, let's see how you do when I take your sight away. I look at him confused and he motions for me to turn around, placing something cool and soft over my eyes and tying it tightly on the back of my head. He pushes me down so I'm laying with my back on the table. I can't see anything else besides blackness. He opens my legs and starts slowly, painstakingly slowly, kissing up my legs from my feet. As soon as he gets close, I clench in desire and anticipation. But instead of satisfying my need, he goes back to my other leg and kisses up that one. Jackson, I moan in anger and need. He pauses for a second and then continues his slow exploration of my body. I can feel him hover over my core, his warm breath fanning over me. I try to scoot closer to him, but he pulls away. I can't see where he went, but he's gone. My body feels cold. He doesn't come back for a few minutes. Jackson? I call out, but I get nothing. I hear footsteps slightly pad on the carpet and they stop. Jackson, please. He puts his warm mouth over one of my nipples and bites it lightly. I gasp in pleasure at the sudden unexpected contact. He moves a finger up and pinches my other nipple. My back buckles up and I lean into him. He pushes me back onto the table with one of his large hands. Stay where you are, he grumbles. Fuck, I don't know how much longer I could take the teasing. He removes his mouth from me and starts drawing a trail with his tongue down my abdomen, stopping right above where I wanted him. I try to fight it and wiggle closer to his mouth, needing contact, needing him. I said, stay put, he growls. I needed him more than I needed anything. I gulp. He walks away again. No, I'm not sure if I said that out loud or if it was in my mind. Suddenly, I'm pulled from the table, held close to his warm chest and his thick arms before my feet are placed on the floor. Arms on the table. He places my arms in front of me and grabs my hips, running his member slowly across my slit, coating himself in my wetness. My head lolls back. That feels so good, Jackson. He positions himself at my entrance and kisses my neck, distracting me for a second until he enters me in one motion. I gasp, not expecting it, filling me up completely from an angle I've never felt before. My breath comes out short. This is everything I needed. Baby, are you okay? He whispers. I frantically nod my head. More, please, more, Jackson, more. I manage to get out between breaths. He obliges and holds on to my hips. I knew there would be a bruise tomorrow, but I wanted him to hold me tighter. He started slow and then picks up the pressure. Another orgasm starts to build. Jackson feels it and removes one hand from my hip to massage my breast, pulling me close to him. I mutter his name as the pleasure peaks and explodes, my wetness dripping down my legs, a shock of pleasure radiating from my core to every part of my body. I grab the table, trying to find something to grab onto as I ride this out. Jackson picks up the pace, thrusting into me harder. I feel him slow his pumps and let out a few quick grunts and a moan. Fuck, Isla. Fuck. He releases into me, holding me tighter. We both take a few breaths after he collapses onto me, both of us halfway laying on the table that I finally discovered that there was a purpose for. Somehow, my sight being taken away from me made everything else feel more intense. I tried to catch my breath, his hands entwining in mine. Let's take a shower. Jackson kisses right below my earlobe. Chapter 67. Trials Eve. Isla. The next 2 weeks went by in a bliss. The cold weather rolled in, and I spent long, cozy afternoons in my library with Abigail, after mornings spent learning everything about Luna duties from Gianna. Jackson wanted me to sit in on meetings when I could so that I would understand more of his duties. William spent most nights walking me through Moonstone's history and traditions. Since I wasn't from here, I had a lot to catch up on. He was a great teacher, though, and I looked forwards to evenings spent with him. I had to admit it was a lot to take in. From what I saw from Juliana, she was mostly out shopping or yelling at someone, if she was even around, that is. I didn't think there were so many responsibilities. It always seemed like more of a supporting role. Someone called her a trophy wife at Silver Moon, but I never really understood what that meant. I was going to be in charge of so many things, especially since Lucas and Cameron didn't have their mates yet. Jackson said once they found their mates, they would be in charge of some of the things I would take over. Jackson, Cameron, and Lucas were splitting some of the Luna duties, and Gianna was helping with a few things, of course, and still did. I would eventually take over all the responsibilities with the Omegas, the housing improvements and placements, planning events, meeting with pack members. I already had a few meetings with Dawn to plan upcoming menus, but she had such a handle on things I felt useless there. Jackson wanted me to talk to the Omegas to see if there were any improvements there. The Omegas have seemed happy, but he still wanted me to ask them if they thought anything could be better. I had to admit, I had a lot of experience in knowing what not to do, so I told him I would have a look at everything. The days were so full of learning my myriad of new duties and spending as much alone time with Jackson that they went by so fast. I wanted them to slow down, or I would be old in the blink of an eye. Gianna's familiar knock comes on the door to my office. I haven't changed it much since she left it. I love the creams against the rough stone that she has throughout our floor and my office. A few soft blue chairs are the only color in the office. I just added a large bookshelf that was already full of books from Moonstone that William lent me. "Come in," I call, as Gianna is already opening the door. She's followed by someone carrying an armful of garment bags. I quickly glanced at my schedule. Nervous, I forgot about an event coming up. She motions to the person to set them on one of the chairs. "Thank you so much, darling," she calls as her helper leaves the room. She sits down on the other chair and intertwines her fingers in her lap. "I just wanted to get you as ready as possible. Abigail has already chosen hers." So this was an event. "Do you want to look at them in here or try them on in your room?" Let's take a look here, and then I can try the ones I like on?" I ask. "Brilliant!" She opens the first bag and shows a dark blue pantsuit. What was she thinking? I smiled at her, still confused. "Okay then, on to the next." Mistaking my confusion for disdain, she pulls out a black blazer, cream shirt, and black skirt. "Something more traditional." Was this for a meeting? "Gianna, I'm sorry." I had to ask her. My mind was as blank as my upcoming schedule. "What is this for?" I must have blanked. Gianna pauses and looks up at me. "Oh, well, Alpha Benjamin's trial is tomorrow." "Tomorrow?" I repeated. I thought that was a week away. I glanced back down at my schedule. Still nothing. "I knew you must have a lot on your mind, so I wanted to help take something off it." She unzips the next one and I stand up. "I'm sure whatever you choose is fine," I say, standing up and turning to the window behind me. The trial was tomorrow. I knew I was protected by the elders. Jackson would be there and no harm would come our way. It was an overwhelming situation, things from my past, my old life that I didn't want to face anymore. If I could do anything to help the Omegas at Silver Moon, my friends, I would do it. I needed to put my feelings aside and focus on them. I didn't realize Gianna had walked up next to me until she touched my arm. "You already gave the statement. You have nothing to worry about. Just say what you know to be true. That's all." I look at her. I knew she was right. I know, it just seems like a lot. And to be honest, I completely forgot about it. I tried to look back the past few days. Maybe there was more mention of the trial, but I realized I didn't pay much attention when the conversation started turning that way. It's my fault, I guess. I was purposefully not thinking about it. The days have blended together and I shrug, letting out a sigh. After tomorrow, this will all be over with. She turns away from me for a few moments. Brilliant! She turns back. Abigail and Jim are hosting us all tonight for a game night. Let me know your pizza toppings. I'll put my top 2 options in your closet. She leaves in a whirl. I knew she was trying to distract me and I was grateful for it. I walk across the hall to Jackson's office and hesitate to knock. "Come in," he says before I make up my mind. I open the door and he sets the papers he was reviewing down. I walk around the desk and sit in his lap. "Is everything okay?" He mutters into my hair, stroking my back. I nod but don't say anything. He just pulls me tighter and I take a deep breath into him. "The trial is tomorrow," I say after a few minutes. "Ah, yes, it is." He pulls me tighter against his chest. "You are going to do so well. It will be over before you know it, and you will be helping everyone from your old pack. Hopefully justice will be served tomorrow, and we never have to deal with Alpha Benjamin tomorrow." That was definitely a thought I could focus on. A thought I could get behind. I pull back and look at him. Maybe I'm being dramatic. "No, Isla." He stops me. "I know this is hard for you, facing them all again, not as a Luna, but as a mistreated Omega there. I can't even imagine what must be going through your head right now." He brushes my hair behind my ear. "But you know we will all be there for you, the entire time. Me, Jim, my parents, Lucas, Cam. No one will leave you, or Abigail." I nod. "It's just, I guess I pushed it out of my mind. I wasn't prepared at all." "You're more prepared than you think you are. We can plan something fun tomorrow after. Maybe go into the city with everyone for lunch. We can get a hotel and spend a night away." I've never been to a city. That did sound really nice. I nodded enthusiastically. Thank you, Jackson. He places a kiss on my forehead. Anything for you, my love. Unknown point of view. This isn't going to hold up much longer. I scream. I'm sick of dealing with his shit, and he's not holding up his end of the bargain. No, fuck that. Not even a bargain. I'm doing him a favor. What was I getting out of this anymore? I knew I would be blamed if this failed after so many years, but I really couldn't stretch this out much longer without someone else to draw from. He isn't helping, and it was somehow my fault. Do something. Do something, I repeat, mocking him. You know what I need. Even magic has its limits. Can you please, just for a day? You've been saying that for ages. I can't do this anymore. I throw my hands up and the line is blank. Hello? I scream. I'm trying to think, he screams back. I'm at my boiling point. No, way past that actually. You figure this out tonight or I walk. Silence again, but I don't say anything this time. You wouldn't, he whispers. What's in it for me? I love you, he says. Huh, as if love was enough to do this. I didn't sign up to babysit for 2 fucking decades. I signed up to help you a bit, I said, emphasizing the bit. I didn't sign up to be stranded out here without you holding up the one simple thing I ask of you. I can't risk taking another Omega. There are so many of them. Take someone else instead. You know the situation. You know I'm being watched. I don't give a rat's ass. You figure this out or you pay the price. Simple. Val, please. I don't waver. Tonight. I hang up the call, trying to calm me. There really wasn't any time and I did not want to see him. Hate sex was so good, especially with your mate or whatever these dogs called it. Chapter 68. Picnic. Benjamin. The night before the trial, and she was threatening me with this bullshit. She told me it wouldn't need this many of them. I had to admit, I needed her. I couldn't have anyone else figuring out about this. Even Juliana didn't know everything. She knew more in the beginning, but she didn't know any of the details anymore. I needed to ensure that I was the only one who knew. I had to trust Valoria. I had no choice. I knew she would keep my secret, continue to help me no matter what. Or so I thought. I was actually worried she would walk away if I didn't find someone for her. I kept forgetting about her recently. There was so much I had to focus on here, and I knew she didn't need my help. Fuck, how was I going to pull this off? I would take one, no one would know. She said she needed someone younger. Were there any Omega children? I couldn't recall seeing any recently, but I also couldn't recall the last time that I went to see the Omega headquarters. Maybe just a warrior. That would be easy to lure out, but I needed warriors. Oh well, I'm sure I could spare one of them. I linked our head warrior before I could change my mind. I need someone to escort me. Anyone in particular? It doesn't matter. Just choose one and have them meet me at the clearing. They will be there in 20. I cut off the link. That was easy enough, but I really didn't want to give one up. Hopefully, this would appease her for a while now. Young and strong. I picked up the phone and dialed a number I knew well. You better not be calling me with any excuses. I'm not. Be ready in 30. I have a young one for you. Perfect. She hangs up. It was early enough. I could grab a bottle of wine and have the Omegas pack up my dinner. I needed to keep her happy now more than ever. Heading towards the elevator, I run into Seth getting off of it. Dad, do you have a minute? I look at my watch. I literally have 1 minute. Make it quick. It's about the trial tomorrow. I sigh. I swear if he hadn't memorized the statement I gave him, if something happens to you, if you get locked up for some reason, I won't, I interject. But if you do, then what? I have no idea, but you have nothing to worry about. Would they make me alpha? He looks down at his feet. Was that really what this was about? He wanted to be alpha so badly that he didn't care how he got it. To be honest, I did a lot more to get this title, so I couldn't really fault him for it. But I never would have gone against my father to get a title. What a fucking prick. I brushed past him and hit the elevator button. Dad, I don't want you to go away. I just want it to be ready in case. He trails off. I said you have nothing to worry about. I step into the elevator. What if they did take me away? Put me in prison? No, they couldn't. They wouldn't. What was I guilty of? Treating Omegas like Omegas? I'm an alpha, and this is my pack. No one should be meddling in my affairs. I knew this was all a formality. They didn't find anything anyways. I made sure none of the Omegas would speak up. Of course, Megan was in the kitchen. Thankfully, there were other Omegas preparing dinner so that she couldn't ask me too many questions. Can you pack me up 2 dinners and some dessert? I ask her. Also, I need the key to the cellar.
Oh, a romantic dinner, is it?
She raises an eyebrow and steps towards me.
Where shall I meet you?
She whispers. Actually, I need to work tonight. The key, please. I hold out my hand. She freezes and anger flashes across her face. She pulls out the key and drops it into my hand. I head to the cellar and select 2 nice bottles of wine. Please pack some utensils and wine glasses too. Maybe a picnic blanket, I say to Megan, not looking at her face.
Yes, Alpha.
Hurry, please. I see 2 other Omegas looking at each other and snickering. Is there something funny, ladies? I address them. How many people knew I was sleeping with her? They shake their heads.
Sorry, Alpha.
One looks to her feet.
She told me something funny.
Well, so much to do, I didn't know you would have time for little jokes. Maybe you'll need some extra work. They don't respond. Megan comes back with everything I've requested and put the bottles on top. Megan, I think these 2 need something to keep themselves occupied. Have them do the dinner cleanup tonight. She nods. Alone. A wicked smile spreads across her face.
Of course, Alpha.
I walk out, not looking back. The warrior is in the clearing waiting for me. Carry this. I hand the basket of food to him. Yes, Alpha. I start walking and he follows behind me. Is there anything I need to know about this task? He starts surveying his surroundings. No, I just need an escort. I'm going to visit a place that I haven't in a while. He nods. We continue walking until we reach the entrance of the old Omega village, partially burnt and decaying. I had to admit that Val did a great job making it seem like it hadn't been touched in a century. Even the elders thought it was old and they were never able to access it. With all their resources, they really were such idiots. I prick my finger and let a drop of my blood fall onto the gate. It creaks open. The warrior takes a long step back, looking confused and frightened. Give me that. I take the basket away from him. Come on, don't be such a little bitch. He hesitantly takes a few steps forward. I motion for him to go first. As soon as he passes into the village, he is knocked unconscious. A beautiful witch is standing over him, her pale white skin almost glistening in the moonlight. A stark contrast against her midnight black hair that is flowing down past her waist. Hello, mate, she whispers seductively, stepping over the unconscious body. You know I hate threatening you, but I have to admit, I like it when you're scared. She walks towards me and licks the side of my cheek. I brought dinner. I hold up the basket, looking at her. She was fucking gorgeous. No one could compare our sex. Not Megan, definitely not Juliana, or anyone else I forced to sleep with me using my rank. Help me get him hooked up, and then we can have a picnic. Her deep red lips pull back, and she flashes me a smile. Chapter 69. The Warrior. Benjamin. Every time I come here, there is a feeling of unsettlement that weighs around me like a thick blanket I can't shake. Once I do the drop-off, I usually go to Val's hut. the largest one in the village, that she put her own twist on. The inside was full of books and plants, mismatched rugs strewn about the floor. It really wasn't my taste, far too cluttered, but she seemed to know exactly where everything was, and I was never here too long for it to really bother me. Help me get him inside before he wakes up. She grabs his arms and starts to pull him. I take his legs and follow her lead to the hut I haven't been in a while. Usually she will keep them alive for at least a few days or weeks before she has to switch them over. I guess we really were down to the line here if she needs me to do it right now. Dispose of her body. There's a pit out back. I look down at the table and see the old lead Omega. Ruth, Janice, I really didn't remember her name. She was in her 60s when she left, but she looked like she was 150. Her skin was gray and looked paper thin. Black lines ran up her body. I wouldn't ever get used to dark magic. I wonder if Val ever did, or if it's in her nature to not be affected by it. I move her away and help her strap the warrior in her place. She's hooking him up to something and muttering spells. I don't look back as I head to dispose of the body. The old Omega lets out a gasp in my arms. I almost drop her. Her eyes open, murky white. I didn't know if she could see anything through the film over her eyes. She raises one old claw-like hand out and immediately goes limp in my arms. Gross. I shudder and shake it off, trying to find the pit. I haven't had to do this part before, but I remember I helped her dig this in the beginning. I find the pit that is now shallow, filled up with the deceased. Whatever she did to them made them decompose before dying. All of the bodies were now turned to bones. I throw her into the pile, her skin already starting to sag. If what Val told me was right, she would be bones in the morning. No remnants of who she was in life. Giving up her life so that others would be forgotten. It was poetic, maybe. Well, not for her. I wonder if Val was done yet. How long could this take? I hesitate to walk back in, and she brushes her hands on her dress and turns around to me. All done, she smiles. Hungry? Honestly, after what I just saw, no. I could use some wine. Oh, darling, you look pale. She runs her hand across my cheek. It's almost cute how innocent you are. I raise my eyebrow at her. Innocent? Who came up with this entire thing? I motion behind her to the man lying motionless on the table. He is alive, right? I question. Oh, yes, my love. She takes my hand in hers and pulls me to the table. I reluctantly let her. See, already his life is being drained. When he wakes up, he will panic a bit. They all do, she muses. But the more he struggles, the more it hurts. They learn quickly. A wicked glint enters her eye. Then it's just annoying groans. She waves her hands, looking annoyed. Does it hurt? She turns to me and smiles. Very much, yes. I take one last look at the table and finally bring myself to look at the things I have been avoiding since I came. 2 bodies in clear tanks against the wall, motionless, besides the water or whatever that shimmering blue substance was moving around their hair, encapsulating them. Frozen in time on the day that they died. Never aging, never changing. Just like Val said. The company here is pretty dull. She circles her arms around my waist from behind and laughs. No one to talk to. Well, no one that responds anyway. You do need to visit me more. She kisses my neck and I'm turned on despite myself, despite the scene in front of me. Damn mate bond. Mates made people weak, and I couldn't have that. I was safe with her out here, knowing where she was when I needed her, not having to worry about her safety. I hated worrying about anyone besides myself. Let's go to my place. Death makes me so horny. I roll my eyes, still facing away so she couldn't see me. The moon goddess must have been playing some sick joke on me, mating me with Valoria. Nothing about her personality was my type, but the things she could do with that body of hers. Lead the way, I say, following her out, without a backwards glance. Ah! I hear the warrior fighting against his restraints. What? Where am I? Val rolls her eyes. I'll deal with him later. Will give me something to look forward to. She shuts the door behind us, and I hear one more loud groan. Come, my love. We have time to make up for. Isla. I was awake since before dawn, fruitlessly trying to stop my racing mind and get the rest I knew that I would need today. Even snuggling up next to Jackson helped a bit, but it didn't do enough to quiet my racing mind. I wasn't too nervous about the trial or speaking in front of everyone. I was more nervous about the outcome. I knew what I went through and would have no problem reliving it in front of a room full of strangers if it meant I could help the other Omegas at Silver Moon. I was just worried that somehow Alpha Benjamin would find a way out of this. I couldn't imagine facing him after testifying against him so publicly. I knew Jackson would keep me safe, and I logically shouldn't be worried, but I couldn't shake the feeling that he would come for me, somehow. I knew I wouldn't be safe unless he was locked up somewhere. He would need someone to blame, and I was an easier target than Jackson. I felt my hair being brushed from my face. What are you thinking about, love? You look worried. He traced his fingers around my face. Just the trial? Well, actually, I'm worried about the outcome. He sits up to face me and takes my chin into his large hands. I understand. I've been thinking about that too. You don't have to worry about it. I promise you won't be alone until it's taken care of. Taken care of? What do you mean? I wasn't going to mention this until I knew if it was a real possibility. He sighs and drops his hands. But I intend to challenge Alpha Benjamin for Silver Moon if he somehow retains his position. No. My stomach instantly dropped. I shake my head back and forth. No, he couldn't. I couldn't risk losing him. Isla, baby, there might not even be a need for it. I am stronger than him, and I know I could. We could find a way to run that pack too. There wouldn't even be a question about my safety. I can't look at his eyes. Why would he do this? I just got him. I just got him back. Promise me you won't do anything without telling me first. I look at his hands. Yes, of course. I doubt it will come to that. The elders have enough evidence against him. I just wanted you to know that you're safe, no matter the outcome of the trial. I nod, and he pulls me into his chest, wrapping his arms around me. I tried to calm myself, breathing in his scent, but it was no use. Not for the first time I wished that Jackson could have been an Omega. We could have lived in a little cottage here and spent our days under the radar. I knew that was selfish, and most people would want it the other way. I was blessed by my mate the moon goddess chose for me. But it did seem like we hardly had a second to catch our breaths before something else happened. Let me run you a bath. I have some things to talk to my dad and Lucas and Cam about before we leave, so I'll come back for you in an hour and we can grab something to eat. He looks at me. Do you want me to have Abigail come up? I nod. He walks to the bathroom and starts running a bath. She will be here in 20 to help you get ready. Thank you, I whisper. He comes and gives me a long kiss, temporarily distracting me from my worries. I'll see you in an hour. I love you so much, Isla. I love you, I responded, looking into his worried face. I'll be okay, just a bit stressed, I promise. He doesn't look convinced, but finally leaves me to get ready for the day. I slip into the bath and let the calming lavender bubbles try to soothe me, if only for a few moments. After I washed my hair and rinsed off, I grabbed a fluffy robe and put my hair in a towel. Maybe once I got dressed, I would feel more official, more ready. Abigail was sitting on our sofa, flipping through channels. She turns around with a broad smile. Isn't it crazy how many shows are out there? She muses. I nod. I can't believe they didn't let us watch anything at Silver Moon. Dawn keeps recommending movies to me. I can hardly keep up with the list. I briefly look at the TV behind her, trying to make out what show it was. Can you help me choose an outfit? I ask. She stands up and I notice she's wearing a dark green jacket and a matching skirt that goes down past her knees. Black heels pull it together. She was wearing light makeup that highlighted her natural beauty and dark features. Her raven hair was pulled back into a traditional Gianna-styled bun. You look incredible. Did Gianna get to you this morning? She laughs. Yes, she helped me with my hair and makeup. I feel very professional. You look it. She follows me into my closet. Can you believe it? What? A few months ago, we were sharing a room that is smaller than your closet with 5 other people. 5 other people, she repeats, walking through looking at the gowns I was scared to touch. And now all of this. I looked around. It was impressive. I was in constant awe of how my life turned around completely pretty much overnight. I thought I was happy enough at Silver Moon having Abigail and a good book to read, but I didn't realize what happiness truly was. I didn't know what I was lacking. I hadn't seen a movie before I came here, and now I had my own theater built just for me. I got a book a year from Abigail, and now I had my own library. If I could help the Omegas live a dignified life with pay, their own houses, and time off, I would do my best. Give me the black blazer and pants, please. I'm ready to end Alpha Benjamin's reign. Abigail smiles. Let's do it. We take 2 cars. William, Gianna, Abigail, Jim, Cameron, and Lucas were all coming with us. Abigail and I were the only ones to give statements, but Elder John said some others might be called on to give their accounts. Even though they were only there for a weekend, they saw enough firsthand, and as ranked members of an alliance pack, their words would mean a lot. I hoped I got to go in the beginning so that I could watch the rest as a spectator. Jackson never let go of my hand after breakfast. What are you in the mood for? There's an amazing Italian place that almost puts my mother's lasagna to shame. Gianna hits the back of Jackson's head. I heard that. I laugh. I don't believe anything could put your mother's lasagna to shame. Let's not even try then. Sushi? Mexican? Honestly, I'm not hungry right now. I had to force myself to eat breakfast under Jackson's watchful eye this morning. Okay, we can decide later. The suites are booked for this evening, and I have it on good authority there is a private hot tub, and Jim brought some new puzzles. He whispers seductively, obviously joking. I laugh. I was looking forward to tonight, going to the city with my favorite people for the night. Lunch and dinner out, and Gianna said we could sneak away to the spa for a few hours tomorrow. She hadn't mentioned that to Jackson yet, though. Benjamin. Fuck. I wake up with dull light filtering through her dusty window. Val's legs tangled with mine, and her perky pale bum was sticking up out of the sheets. Shit. Val, wake up. I push her. What? Go back to bed, my love. I have my trial today. I get up looking for my clothes. I find my phone and see it's past 6. I was supposed to be there at 8. Skip it. Stay with me. She spreads her legs wide. As tempting as that is, I have to do this the right way. That's no fun. Can we just cast them all? There will be far too many people there. I smile. I did like where her head was on this one. I kiss her forehead. You know what to do, right? She nods. Everything is under control, my love. You don't worry about anything. I wish it was easy enough. I didn't think that I would need a backup plan, but better to be safe than sorry later. I wasn't going to lose my position because some old men thought they knew how to run my pack better than I did. I scoffed at the thought. Just in case they thought that they could get away with it, I would show them otherwise. I ran back in wolf form, carrying my clothes in my mouth. I quickly got dressed and headed in the back of the pack house, hoping no one would see me. When I get to the front, Juliana is downstairs with the lead warrior crying. I pretend not to see them and try to sneak up the elevator without seeing them. They were far enough away and hadn't noticed me yet. My love, Benji! Shit. She runs up to me and buries her face in my chest. I thought you left or something happened to you. Where were you? She pulls back and looks at my disheveled appearance. Anger replaced any grief she felt before. Long story. Where's Leo? The head warrior comes up to us. Who is Leo? The warrior that went with you last night. Juliana looks between us, confused. Only needed him for a few minutes, then I dismissed him, I say, turning to the elevator and pressing the button. He never returned home. His mate is looking for him everywhere. She can't link him. he explains. That is strange. Send a search party. The last place I saw him was about a mile north of here. See if there are any traces of rogues. Yes, Alpha. He turns to leave and I sigh. I can't believe I fell asleep there. Where were you? Juliana asks again. Taking care of some things for the trial. Don't worry, love. I get in the elevator and she follows me. Make sure Seth and Haley are ready. We have to leave in an hour. I check my watch. Less than an hour, actually. Is that what you're wearing? I look down at her leggings. Of course not, you idiot. When I woke up and you weren't there, I panicked. No one knew where you were. I even asked that vile whore, Megan. She spits her name. I slept in this. I nod, not taking the bait. Just put yourself together, please. We don't have time for this. For this? For this? She screams. It was going to be one of those days. I'm sorry, I was worried about my mate, she spits. Oh, give it up, Juliana. No one is around, I say, and shut the door to our room in her face. She better pull it together before we leave. I was not going to have her emotions make us seem unstable. Me unstable. The courtroom was old and stuffy, nothing like you'd see on TV. It was made out of dark wood and was lit only by large windows on one side. How old was this place? What would they do if it was dark outside? Probably candles or something else ancient. Alpha Benjamin, the elder presiding over this case, says, you understand the charges being laid against you. Abusive treatment by you and other members regarding your pack members. He goes on and yammers for a few minutes about some bullshit allegations. Do you plead guilty or not guilty to the charges laid before you? I didn't realize he was talking to me for a minute. Not guilty. Not guilty, he repeats. On all accounts? On all accounts. I lean back in my seat. Very well. Let's proceed with the trial. Let's get it over with. I already knew this was going to be a long day.
Chapter 70. Trial. Isla. The courtroom comforted me. It wasn't bright and bared like I expected. Instead, it looked like something frozen in time hundreds of years ago. The list of claims was read against him, and he unsurprisingly said he was not guilty to any of them. Cassius, the elder's man that was in charge of gaining evidence, spoke first. He shared photos of our sleeping areas and testaments that he received from talking to the Omegas there. None of them wanted to go on record, so he had to share his observations and paraphrase what he heard. He brought Megan to the stand and questioned her first. She had her signature high ponytail and was wearing a dark red dress that barely covered her ass, a black jacket, and stilettos. Please state your name and your title.
Megan Stayer, lead Omega at Silver Moon. She grabs her ponytail and looks around, seeming to love that all eyes were on her.
How long have you been the lead Omega?
Almost a year now.
What happened to the previous lead Omega?
She moved back home or something. She waves her hand.
Where is home?
I'm not sure.
We haven't been able to find her for questioning. Alpha Benjamin refused to tell us where she relocated to.
Cassius turns to the presiding elder, who nods.
In your experience, has the Alpha ever treated you poorly?
No.
Never?
Never, she confirms.
Have you witnessed any behavior against other members that might be described as abusive?
Never. She crosses her arms.
When asked to see a copy of your Omega's payroll, you didn't have that information, he says.
That wasn't a question.
How much do you pay your Omegas?
Megan pauses for a minute.
How much do your Omegas get paid, and how often is it paid?
He goes on. She freezes, looking around. I don't have that information.
You're not in charge of a payroll?
She shakes her head.
Then who is?
I'm not sure. It wasn't my responsibility.
How much do you get paid?
Anger flashed across her face before she composes herself again. That's none of your concern.
Actually, it is. I get paid.
But how much? He asks.
Like maybe 40,000? She asks.
Can you prove that?
She shakes her head, looking scared. It's cash, she says.
Ah, I see. The Omegas that I talked to seem to not know that they were supposed to get paid.
Everyone in the audience gasps. Even the presiding elder looks shocked for a split second before composing himself. She scrambles. They lie. They hate that I became lead Omega and want to do anything to take their alpha down.
So they have no loyalty to him?
No.
And why not?
They're Omegas. They only understand power, not loyalty. She scoffs, as if this was an obvious explanation.
Aren't you an Omega?
She nods, a sour look on her face.
Do you respect your alpha, your ranked members?
Of course I do.
Why is it they don't, then?
That's not what I meant.
Then what do you mean?
Just that the Omegas are, they just aren't great. They're lazy and it's hard to get them to do anything.
All of them?
Yes, pretty much all of them. She crosses her arms again. I can see her face starting to flush even from this far back.
So they have no loyalty because they're lazy. You have loyalty because...
He leaves the question open. Because I love my alpha, the ranked members. They provide shelter and food for us and protect us. I understand that I wouldn't be anywhere without them.
All right, then.
He gives her a long look.
How do you keep your Omegas in line since they have no loyalty?
They listen to me.
Why is that?
Because they respect me as another Omega.
I see. What happens if they don't respect you, if they step out of line? Every pack has to have some way to keep everyone in line.
Are you asking if we have punishments?
Yes.
Then ask that. Megan takes control of herself again.
What are the punishments for people stepping out of line?
I didn't say they were punishments.
So nothing happens if people step out of line?
She doesn't say anything.
I see we're talking in circles here. Let's call someone else. Thank you for your time, Miss Stayer. Luna Isla of the Moonstone Pack?
He calls out. Jackson squeezes my hand and I try to swallow a lump forming in my throat. I rise and take the seat Megan was sitting in before. I feel Alpha Benjamin's eyes staring into me, but I don't face him. Can't face him.
Please state your name and title.
My name is Isla. I don't know my family name. I'm the Luna of the Moonstone Pack.
Welcome, Isla.
He smiles widely at me, his demeanor changing completely.
You were previously a member of the Silver Moon Pack, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You were an Omega.
I nod.
Could you describe the working and living conditions that you experienced when you lived there?
I took a deep breath. I told them about the sleeping situation, working from dawn until dusk, not having much time off, if any, rarely leaving the pack house kitchen or our living quarters, and some of the punishments that I endured there and had witnessed.
You were chained all night like a dog.
I see Jackson shaking. Yes, sir.
What was the reason for it?
I was cleaning the ranked members' bathrooms and I went into Alpha Benjamin's office. I didn't know I wasn't allowed in there. Cassius gives Alpha Benjamin a look.
What happened when you were found in his office?
I got yelled at, called names, and then Megan made me go outside to the pole after I finished cleaning. I shrugged.
Megan said that there weren't any punishments.
I let out an accidental laugh.
That doesn't seem to be what you are saying.
Not at all. I've seen every Omega get yelled at and put down, to say the very least. There was physical abuse, skipping meals, being chained up, stuff like that.
When did the abuse start?
We always had cramped living spaces and long working hours without much personal freedom. But the punishments really started to pick up when Megan took over.
The previous head Omega, Janice, was it?
I nod.
Were things as bad when she was there?
They were bad, but it wasn't the same. Sometimes we weren't allowed to have meals and someone would come to beat us up a bit if we stepped out of line. A warrior maybe, but it wasn't by her. She seemed to be on our side completely, trying to protect us. If the Alpha was mad, we knew it because it was taken out on us.
Is there a reason why Megan would lie to protect the Alpha?
I wasn't sure how much I should be giving away. I think she likes power, I say.
Anything else?
I'm not sure about this, so I don't know if I should say it. He doesn't say anything, so I go on. I think they've been sleeping together. A loud shout comes from the audience.
I fucking knew it! That little bitch, I'm going to kill her! Grab her by her stupid bleached blonde ponytail and drag her the fuck out of here! I want her out of my pack immediately! Where is she?
Juliana makes eye contact with Megan, who is smirking at her.
I'm going to fucking kill you!
She lunges at her. 2 warriors intervene and pull them apart.
Pack your bags immediately. I never want to see your whore face around the pack house ever again.
The Alpha has to say if he wants me to leave. Megan gives Juliana a smile.
I am your Luna, she commands. You will pack immediately.
Megan looks down but doesn't say anything.
Ladies, can you contain yourselves for the rest of trial, or do I have to remove you both?
Juliana doesn't stop glaring at Megan, but goes back to sit next to Alpha Benjamin. I can almost see the anger rolling off her in waves. Alpha Benjamin whispers something to her, and she shakes her head angrily.
Well, I guess that confirms it.
Cassius looks to the presiding elder.
It confirms nothing,
Alpha Benjamin interjects.
Do you mind if I ask you if Luna Juliana is your destined mate?
Cassius turns his attention to him.
You can ask what you want when it's my turn. Finish up with her, this is already dragging.
He waves his hand towards me, looking bored.
Okay then, the last thing. Have you experienced any abuse from the other ranked members?
I pause. Yes, I say, looking down, doing everything to avoid their stares.
Who?
The Alpha's children, Seth and Haley.
What kind of abuse?
He asks, concern lacing his voice. Haley has hit me a few times, pulled my hair, pushed me, nothing too serious. It just started the last few weeks when I was there. She yelled a lot and... I paused, trying to steady my voice.
Take your time.
There was one time that Seth tried to, he tried to force himself on me. Jackson roars from the audience, his eyes black. I mentioned this happened, but not in too much detail, knowing how upset he would have been. Every part of him is shaking, and he's scanning the room for Seth.
Alpha Jackson, please, the presiding elder says. I understand this is hard to hear, but please let us get on with the trial.
It's okay, baby. Nothing happened. I tried to reassure him from across the room.
See? Nothing happened. Let's move past it.
Alpha Benjamin interjects, and Jackson turns his anger on him.
Isla, thank you for your time. I don't think we need the details at this moment. You may be seated.
I nervously stand, and Jackson comes up and meets me at the front of the aisle, putting his arm around me. When we get back to our seats, he pulls me into his lap and takes a deep breath into my hair.
I'm going to kill him, he whispers. You did fantastic, though. I am so proud of you, baby.
I let out a small laugh at his change of attitude. Abigail gives her statement flawlessly. They asked about the night I was brought in and her time before I was there.
I honestly don't remember much of my childhood, she laughs. Call it old age, but I've been at the pack house ever since I could remember. Did you grow up there with your parents?
She pauses. Yes, I must have. I haven't lived anywhere besides the pack house. She shakes her head. I'm sorry, I'm blanking a bit. I promise I'm not trying to leave information out.
I understand. The last question. Did you ever work with the previous Alpha?
She shakes her head. I don't think so. I would have been too young to remember if I did.
Thank you, Abigail.
She smiles and gets up and takes her seat next to me. I grab her hand. Well done, I say.
It's over. Our part is, at least. Let's focus on what we're going to get for dinner.
She smiles at me. She was right. I tried to tear my thoughts away from the trial and think of nothing else, but I couldn't. Chapter 71. Hotel Planning. Benjamin. Cassius kept asking the same questions over and over. We get it. The poor Omegas had to work for a roof over their head and free food. I thought it was a damn good trade. They should be so fucking lucky to work for such a respectable pack. Besides having some photos, it didn't seem like he had concrete evidence. It was the two Omegas' word against mine. Megan did okay too. Definitely fucked up a few times, but she didn't give too much away, just like we practiced. Having my lead Omega on my side was a huge advantage, showing solidarity and making it seem like Isla and the older one were being dramatic. Alpha Benjamin, will you come forward, please? I stand up and stretch and saunter towards the chair. I introduce myself for the records. Now, Alpha Benjamin, what do you have to say to those that are accusing you of abuse? I have been treating the Omegas the same way as has always been in this pack. I haven't changed anything since I took over, I say flatly. And you thought this treatment of them was okay just because it's what you knew? It's all I knew, so yes, I thought it was normal. When did the Omegas move into the pack house? It's unusual to have all of them live there, and we found an abandoned village that we assumed to be the Omega village. That was abandoned before I took over. Why was it? Abandoned? Yes. I think there was a fire. You think? That's what I said. The skinny dog pauses. And why wasn't it rebuilt? I guess everyone got comfortable in the pack house. Would you call 7 or 8 adults to a room comfortable? They didn't complain. He looks at me. So, a temporary move turned permanent years ago? Abigail said she didn't remember living outside the pack house, so that does match up with your story. Conveniently, it does. Going back to your pack, you now are aware that how the Omegas were treated was wrong. Is that correct? I fight the urge to roll my eyes and nod instead. So what changes will you make to better support the Omegas? I was taken aback. I wonder if they would actually check on these changes or not. This was surely a formality. Rebuild a village for them would be the first thing to do. He nods. And then what? What does this guy want? For me to throw them a fucking pizza party for doing the bare minimum? I didn't want to say that I would change anything that would incriminate me. I wouldn't be found guilty by saying I would start paying them or not tie them to a fucking pole anymore. I think we could look at their wages and see if a pay raise or a bonus is in order. That was good. What else? What else is there? I look at him, coming up with nothing. I couldn't think of anything else that wouldn't throw me under the bus. More time off? That sounded stupid. Then he would ask me how much time they were getting now. Do you have anything else? He repeats himself. I trust the elders to advise me on what steps need to be taken. I didn't realize that we had a problem until it was brought to my attention a few months ago. I see the proceeding elder give a short nod out of the corner of my eye. That was good, right? Maybe I could play this self-pity forgiveness card. Your predecessor. What about him? We don't have him on our records. The last one we have written down was who I am assuming is your grandfather or great-grandfather. Jeremiah Aldolfa. I nod. Is there a reason you never gave us the updated records? I'm sorry, it wasn't something I thought I had to do. My predecessor apparently was lacking in some of his teachings. I smile sheepishly. Right, and the last name change? That is interesting. From Adolfa to Hemming? You don't see that happen every day. My father wanted to modernize, trying to brush it off, so we moved past it. Moonstone went from black fur to just black, if I remember correctly. Yes, I think that is correct. I nod. I am sorry. I didn't realize what I was doing. I just learned that behavior from my father, just like my kids must have learned it from me. I'm glad this was brought to my attention before the cycle could go on.
Now Haley and Seth will learn to do better and have a brighter future for the pack." That hurt to say. I hated sucking up to these old men, but I would not face any sort of consequences. I needed this behind me. I've come so far staying under the radar. I could swallow my pride for a few hours. I appeased myself, knowing I would get revenge later. "We want to open up the floor to the elders to question you." "Go ahead," I say politely. The skinny man gives me a funny look I couldn't decipher. "Alpha Benjamin, are you actually aware, that you treated your pack members horribly and unjustly?" I pause for a second, trying to make it seem like I felt bad. "Yes, I do now. I don't know how I could ever make it up to them." I make eye contact with the elder that asks me, "But you thought it was okay to beat members of your pack for insignificant misunderstandings?" Another one asks incredulously. This one was against me. I knew it. I never laid a hand on any of my members. But under your instructions, someone did. I can admit that it got a bit away from me. I should have known what was going on in my pack. I look down guiltily. Yes, you should have, Alpha," he sneers. "Definitely didn't win him over. How long would it take you to build a new Omega village?" I continue looking down, trying to calculate this in my head. How many Omegas were there? How many could I shove into a hut? I would have to start looking at outside contracts and get an estimate, but it will be my top priority. The other elder nods. "Further questions?" Skinny Man asks the elders. "Who was in charge of the Omega's pay?" Someone else asks. "The previous lead Omega said that she passed it to someone," I say, wondering who else to blame besides Megan. "I can ask my beta," I add. "Sure, why not throw him under the bus?" "You do that. We will need proof of payment. You were paying them, correct?" "To the best of my knowledge, we were. I don't see how that could have been overlooked." It seemed a few things have been overlooked," he mutters. "Yes, Elder. It seems that there has been some things that I need to look into in my pack. See who is to blame for this." "I think it's obvious who is to blame." The elder that seemed angry before butts in. "You're the Alpha, the leader of the pack. Whatever is happening in your pack, even if you're not to blame, is on you." "You are absolutely right." I look down and take a breath, furrowing my eyebrows, pretending to think. "I will have to conduct an internal investigation, see what has been happening." I trailed off, talking to myself, but loud enough for them to hear. No one says anything for the time being. "Are there any further questions?" Skinny Dog asks again. I fight the urge to punch his stupid face across the room. "Not at the moment." "No. I think we need to reconvene. It's getting late." I look out the window to see the first lights of a pink dusk streaking across the sky. "We will finish this tomorrow morning," the presiding elder says. I wait for them to stand before I get up, not wanting to look too eager. I head to Juliana and put my arm around her. She tries to brush it off, but I hold my grip. "You will not embarrass me further," I hiss into her ear. "Now, shall we go out for dinner as a family?" I suggest loudly enough that some of the remaining elders can hear. "I think we have a lot to talk about." Isla. The trial ends for the day. I was surprised that they didn't ask him more questions. I felt that I was up there just as long, if not longer than he was, and he was the one that the trial was all about. Jackson tenses next to me when it's over, and I know he's having an internal battle with himself, trying to hold Flint from ripping Seth's throat out. "Thank you so much for coming to my trial." Alpha Benjamin comes up to us on his way out. "You ladies really did put on a good show." He whispers the end and winks, pulling Juliana behind him. Seth smiles at me and then at Jackson, who lets out a low growl. I put my arm on his. "Really, it's okay. Let's go. I'm starving," I say, not realizing how true it was. We didn't break for lunch as expected, and it went way longer than I thought. "Come on, ladies." Lucas stands up first. "We can decide dinner on the way. Dibs on the hot tub tonight." "Your fat ass will take up the entire thing," Cameron complains. That's why I called dibs. It's mine. Once we're back in the cars, I finally muster the courage to ask Jackson what I've been worried about since Alpha Benjamin took the stand. Do you think they will let him go? They seem to believe him, I whisper. Jackson shakes his head. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell where everyone was going. I tried to read the elders' face, but they seemed split. It's not an easy thing to justify taking someone's pack away. That's what I was afraid of. I thought this would be more black and white and done today. He takes my hand in his. I know, baby. Me too. Elder John said that it was a strange situation and he wasn't sure which way it would go. There was proof, though. Abigail and I testified and there weren't any pay slips, any proof. He sighs. Overthrowing an alpha this way is hard. Honestly, never heard of. Usually the elders will step in to reprimand someone, but they're more here to keep the peace. He kisses the back of my hand. I would love nothing more than for him to be locked away and never let out. But it's up to the elders. He pauses. For now. Jackson, please. What are we in the mood for? Lucas's voice comes from the front. We're about to be there and I need to know what direction we're heading. After mind linking between the other cars and Lucas and Cameron arguing, Gianna made the executive decision of this Asian restaurant that apparently has the best sushi she ever tasted. I was fine with anything. I knew I was hungry, but I lost my appetite after talking to Jackson. I wanted him to be more confident that Alpha Benjamin couldn't escape this. But I was more worried after finding out he wasn't as sure as he was this morning. I wanted tonight to be a peaceful and relaxing night. A night of hopeful celebration where we could put this behind us once and for all. Instead, I just got the same anxiety in a different location. It was nice to be away and dinner distracted me a bit, but I knew that everyone's mind was elsewhere. Jackson. Why don't you order some dessert for us? The room service menu is on the table. The suite we got was large enough for us all to have our own rooms with our mates. Cam and Lucas had to share one, but they were used to that. I raised my eyes to my dad and tried to catch Lucas's and Cam's. My dad caught on faster than the others. Let's see if there's a minibar in this place. He walks out and we all follow him. I see my mom raise an eyebrow. Nothing gets past her. I don't think we'll have much time. Mom caught on. I turned to my dad and the others. This isn't a secret and Isla already knows my intentions. I just wanted to let you know as well. They nod, looking at me. If somehow Alpha Benjamin gets off or gets off too easy, I intend to challenge him for his pack. My dad looks a bit taken aback. Lucas smiles and Cam seems serious. A look I could never tell exactly if it was a good or a bad thing. That is serious, son. We can't meddle into the elders' affairs. I put my hands up. I already talked to Elder John. And what did he say? The same thing, pretty much. We had to wait until the trial first and see. He told me off record he thinks I should go for it. My dad cracked a brief smile. Well, hard to argue with that logic then. Lucas, Cam, I turned to them. I say go for it. What do we have to lose? Lucas immediately chimes in. Potentially everything? Our alpha? Cam retorts. I'm stronger than him. You know that. I do know that, Cam says. But I also know enough of Alpha Benjamin to know he wouldn't go down without a fight. That's what he's suggesting, that he fights them, Lucas butts in. I know that, you idiot. I'm saying I don't think he would fight fair. That is a good point. He seems sketchy. I don't believe for a moment that he didn't know that treating the Omegas like trash was wrong. They were practically slaves. Anyone that thinks it's okay to treat another person like that, even if it was learned, cannot claim to be a decent man, my dad says. So, if we do this, we're going to need a plan and an element of surprise, Cam says, thinking. We can't just show up and challenge him. We have to announce it in advance and notify the elders, I say. Challenge him as soon as possible. Set a date, my dad says. When should we set the date for? I ask. Next week. That was soon. I look to Cam, who nods. If he agreed, I knew we could do this. With my dad's wisdom, Cam's battle knowledge, and Lucas's loyalty, I knew I couldn't go wrong. I trusted their guidance more than anything. Okay, Let's start planning tonight. I could admit to myself that I was looking forward to having something to do tonight. As calm as I tried to be for Isla, I was nervous about the outcome, and sitting in a hot tub, drinking all night, or watching a movie would have just made me more on edge. At least this would be a distraction. I needed to tell Isla, though, before it was announced. I just needed to figure out when.
Chapter 72. The Verdict.
Isla. Wake up, baby.
Jackson pulls me closer to him. I'm awake.
I know last night wasn't exactly what you expected.
He kisses my forehead. It was fun.
I know, but it wasn't the night that you expected.
It wasn't the night that anyone expected. I think we thought it would be over and have some good results. I sigh. For once.
It's okay. Even if it isn't the process we hoped for, the outcome will be what we want.
I couldn't help tensing up. Jackson.
Isla, I know what I'm doing. I'll have Cameron, Lucas, and my dad there with me. We already started to plan it out.
It's too dangerous. I shook my head. They didn't know him like I did.
We're going to look at it from every angle and make sure that he doesn't have time to do anything sketchy. We're hoping for a fair fight.
Hoping? I look at him.
He doesn't seem to be one to play by the rules. Cam was worried he would do something to interfere if we gave him enough time.
I don't know much about challenging alphas, but don't you have to announce it ahead of time?
Yes, you do. It's standard to give at least a week's notice. We want an element of surprise, though, so that he can't catch us off guard.
I look at him.
Nothing illegal.
He continues meeting my stare.
Just maybe leaving the place where the challenge takes place up to the elders or something, so he can't plan anything ahead of time to throw us off.
That makes sense. I still don't like this, though.
I know, baby, but I wouldn't do this if I wasn't sure. If he gets off, this is the only way that we can take care of him and make sure the Omegas are safe.
He pulls me against him and buries his face in my hair. I know.
Will you support me on this?
I take a deep breath. Yes. I didn't want this, and there was still a chance that the elders would take care of it, but I knew we had to get rid of him somehow. I hoped they didn't buy his pathetic performance yesterday of being sorry for his actions and not realizing what he's done. I trusted that they would make the right decision and remove his title. Even without his title, he can be dangerous unless locked up, gone for good.
Knock, knock, sleepyheads.
Lucas's voice comes through our door.
We're headed down for breakfast soon.
I roll out of bed. I couldn't wait until I got a good night's sleep again.
Jackson. Baby, go downstairs. I'll get our things and meet you down there.
She gives me a sweet smile and leans up towards me looking for a kiss, which I gladly give her. Don't take long. As soon as the door shuts behind her, I grab my phone and find Elder John's number.
Alpha Jackson, to what do I owe the pleasure? Elder, I know you said to wait until after the sentencing, but I need to know if anything changed in regard to the potential challenge.
He pauses.
Yes. I can't tell you the outcome of the trial. I'm not exactly sure what it will be yet myself. That wasn't good. However, I can bring it up to the other elders today before the trial to see if they have any objections to you challenging him if he remains Alpha of Silver Moon.
That was more than I hoped for. We might even have an answer today, at least know the direction we were heading.
I'll let you know after the trial is over what they say. If things don't go as we hope they would, that is.
Thank you, Elder. Isla. I'm sitting between Jackson and Abigail holding both of their hands, back in the same dark paneled room I hoped I wouldn't have to see after yesterday. Alpha Benjamin walks in holding Juliana's hand with Haley and Seth following him. There was no sign of Megan today. I wonder how Alpha Benjamin convinced Juliana to play the part of a good mate and not a scorned Luna.
Is it just me, or have we been waiting for hours? Lucas whispers.
I feel the same way, Abigail responds. Jim takes her other hand in his and kisses it. The elders walk in and take their places at the front of the room. It takes them forever to sit down, and then even longer for someone to start talking. The preceding elder stands up and addresses everyone.
Thank you for coming back here today. We know it is an inconvenience, but we needed the time to deliberate.
He looks down at some papers. I wonder who would be called to give a statement next. Could Alpha Benjamin have someone else to testify for him?
We have come to the conclusion after much deliberation.
I felt like everyone in the room was holding their breath, or was that just me? A conclusion already? I feel a cold sweat down my back. I thought Alpha Benjamin would be questioned more at the very least. I looked at Jackson, who looked tense, his brows furrowed together. I knew he was thinking the same thing I was. Abigail squeezes my hand tighter and doesn't stop.
Although Alpha Benjamin is guilty of committing crimes against his Omegas,
I would have liked the word guilty more if it wasn't following although.
We will give him a chance to redeem himself.
I felt my heart drop to my stomach. There was no redemption for this man. Couldn't they see who he was? I frantically looked at the other elders' faces. A few of them looked annoyed and frustrated. I guess it wasn't a unanimous decision. I steal a glance at Alpha Benjamin and his family at the front. He's looking down and Juliana puts an arm around him.
We have a list of things that we want carried out for the Omegas, a formal apology to them, and we will be monitoring the progress to make sure it's actually carried out. Do you understand this, Alpha Benjamin?
I understand, Elder.
Besides an Omega village, the Omegas will have shorter working hours, more time off. And if you cannot provide that you or someone has paid them, then you'll owe every single one of the Omegas for the years they haven't been paid.
That was something at least. Even if he wasn't stripped of his title, then the Omegas there would have new homes, wages, and a much better life.
Do you accept this?
Yes, Elder. Thank you. Alpha Benjamin says with a short nod.
Thank you all again for coming back. Now that we have our verdict, we're done here.
He turns to speak to Alpha Benjamin directly.
We want you to stay so we can set out the expectations for you and show you the plan we expect you to stick to.
Jackson shoots up next to me, dropping my hand.
I, Alpha Jackson Black of the Moonstone Pack, challenge Alpha Benjamin Hemming of the Silver Moon Pack for his title and pack.
Chapter 73.